I just grow because she's a good person, and sometimes I feel like I need to grow to not lose her. But that's my issue. But I grow to be better for her and for our kids. And that's always been my goal since I've met her. They would say stuff like, don't put that on Instagram. From a very young age. Betty would be very much like, no, that doesn't go there.
Can I just ask about Magda Szubanski?
Because she laughs at everything. She laughs at us, she laughs at herself, and she made us laugh at the cancer with her. And, they say laughter is the best medicine. It's kind of true.
I'm going to just say I'll play Emma and you'll be Miss Knightley. It's gorgeous.
I just cried.
Look, I'm British. I mean, I'm incredibly humbled, and also I feel a great deal of shame for you.
David and Lisa Campbell, welcome to the Stella Podcast.
It's good to be back.
Thank you for having us.
It is lovely to have you back, David. Lisa, your first time on the Stella Podcast.
It's a joy.
Talking about Into the Austenverse, which is where Jane Austen meets popular culture. This feels like the perfect collab for the two of you, because what I know of the two of you, DC, very much I often run into you in opening nights of Marvel movies, superhero movies, into the universe and that sort of metaverse kind of thing. And then Lisa, you, as you say in one of the earlier episodes of the series, talk about how you are a self-described Janeite. Like me, discovered Jane Austen in school, big fan of it. So it feels like the perfect collision, or like I say, collab of your two worlds. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. I mean, that's how it started originally, was the fact that David asked me, what I felt about the new cast of the Netflix adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. And that in itself is an entry into all of the different worlds of popular culture. So you've got Olivia Colman and
Emma Corrin
and Jack Lowden. And so we've got all of these crossovers of the different things that we watch and the different things we love from Marvel, and with Emma Corrin and Slow Horses with Jack Lowden. And
we just love Olivia Colman. Anyway, that was a
national treasure. So we were looking at that and discussing that, and that was when you decided that you thought it was a podcast.
Well, it's only because Lisa was so passionate about it, and as she was talking to me, and I don't want to downplay the fact that I didn't go to university, but it's a real thing, and it's something that I think a lot of men out there sort of go, I like the fact that book talk is happening and that men are now starting to get into reading more, but I feel like a lot of guys don't read as much as they used to. And when she was talking to me, I'm like, oh, I've never read, I don't have an opinion on this, which is very rare that Lisa and I will talk about anything at home, and I don't
have an opinion.
I don't have an opinion. And so I thought naturally what any man who wants to have an opinion on something needs to do is start a podcast. But I thought that I needed to educate myself on the knowledge that she has and the knowledge that most people have who read Austen. Like, why don't I know this? Why is this a gap in my knowledge? I don't want to die and to have never read Pride and Prejudice. That seemed silly to me. So I was like, okay, well, let's do this as a project and we'll do it together, and you can
Now I can die happy.
Yeah, almost. I haven't finished them all yet.
Well, where did you start? Was it with Pride and Prejudice?
No. We started as a podcast.
Yours was Sense and Sensibility was the first one you read.
Yeah.
And that's my favourite Austen novel. Sorry to insert myself into this conversation.
Please do.
Sense and Sensibility is my favourite. But what
goes
did you
like the
think
banger.
of it?
It goes like the clappers, doesn't it? It's really fun.
Good.
Why is it your favourite?
Yeah.
That's a great question, and I'm not really sure why. I read Pride and Prejudice was my gateway into it, like I'm sure a lot of people listening would have that same experience. For me, it was reading the novel, although I did think that the 1995 BBC version was impeccable,
Yeah, well,
and
that's the only one I'd seen.
That's the gold standard to me. But then I read Sense and Sensibility a couple of years later. I think it was just slightly the characters. I think there's a few different characters that are a bit more unpredictable. And I'm not in any way sledging what happened in Pride and Prejudice, because it is genuinely the definition of a classic. I mean, Jane Austen doesn't need my endorsement. I don't think she's been waiting for that, the late, great Jane. But I think there's so many great male characters in particular in Sense and Sensibility. And I think that sister relationship, which is so strong in so many of her work, I feel like that takes on a whole new level in Sense and Sensibility again.
I agree. And just the writing's really fast. It's almost like she's in the groove or something there. It feels really like, I'm going to take you on this wild ride. It feels like very fast paced. Whereas Pride takes its time. Even Emma can take its time.
I think with Sense and Sensibility, you have a trajectory for, particularly in a love match way, you're not quite sure where it's going to go. It does feel as though we are in Marianne and Eleanor's seat. We don't know how this is going to pan out. I mean, we assume that there's going to be a happy ending, but you don't know that Marianne's going to not end up with...
Or die of a broken heart. She's pretty broken in it from Willoughby.
And when she ends up with Brandon, I mean, that's not expected.
No, it's not.
Sorry, spoilers.
No.
Yeah, it's 200 years later, but we should have prefaced that. But yeah, I think that there's when you meet the characters in Pride and Prejudice, we are conditioned. We recognize that trope and that trajectory very easily. So I think as modern readers, we're like, okay, we know the way this is headed. But Sense and Sensibility doesn't have that same voyage.
That is so well articulated, and I think exactly what I was trying to say in a much less eloquent way, which is it just does have a really unpredictable element to it. Lisa, do you have a favourite Austen novel?
Look, it's kind of the one that I'm reading right now, because if you'd asked me before we did the podcast, I would have said Mansfield Park, because I think I was just being contrary, and that was what, as a teenager, when I read them all, that was the one that I was the most engaged with, probably because there's a bit of amateur dramatics in it, and
a lot of amateur dramatics. I was shocked at how much there was.
But now, where I'm at, I think I'm going to go for Emma. I think that when Jane wrote the character of Emma, she decided to create a heroine that wasn't inherently likable. And I love the challenge of her as a character. I see so much of myself, the bits that I don't like about myself, in her. And I find that really interesting.
Also, it's about Knightley. Knightley is perfect.
Yeah, you love Mr. Knightley.
Well, I'm a Knightley guy. Sorry for the Darcy heads out there. Knightley's the real one.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you why Jane Austen now in 2025, and I want to hear your answer on that as opposed to my answer. But also just, Lisa, when you've spoken about Emma and tackling an unlikable heroine. I mean, if Jane Austen was amongst us today, could there be a more timely issue than the way that we define and judge and prosecute a quote-unquote unlikable woman in our world, in our popular culture,
So true.
in
Absolutely.
our public arenas?
So I think that precisely now in 2025, the reason that we were in the energy behind it is purely because there's so much new adaptations and new versions of the books that are coming out on Audible, and she's so much part of the conversation right now.
250th.
That felt like the energy of that celebration, I think, was inspiring to us. But with regards to her resonance now, I think that the writing of human characters is so good that it completely translates to now. So we were talking just previously about mania and ADHD. Emma has ADHD. 100%. I don't like to diagnose people, but I'm going to, and she does. Everything. The fact that she writes lists of books rather than reading them. I have written so many lists of books. I've done this myself. It's those things of the human foibles that Jane wrote about are still so visible in all of us today that nothing grows old.
And the sort of importance of marriage in the culture of the time and how it's still there, how we're still like, well, you guys are together, you're going to get engaged, you're going to get married. And she is not really on board with that, Jane. Sometimes the characters marry out of love and that happens, but sometimes she's like, maybe this isn't a good marriage. And she really judged, and that's really rare, I think, for that time, where they're sort of judging a societal norm or one that, especially for some people, are needed. He earns £10,000 a year, or he has a parsonage. You must be married off. And the fact that her and Cassandra didn't do that and sort of rebelled against that, in their own lives, and then she wrote about marriage in such an interesting way, really is very, very timely. More timely than I could have possibly imagined when I thought I should probably read these novels.
It does hold up extremely well.
Yeah.
And I love that ADHD diagnosis. I never thought about that, Lisa, with the character of Emma. Now it all makes sense,
does. It all
doesn't
falls
it?
into
My
place.
gosh,
Finger
it
in
makes
everybody's
sense.
business.
Yeah.
It's a trope.
It's a trope.
Yeah.
She really is timeless, would you argue, in a way that a lot of other people aren't. Can you think of any other artists whose work would necessarily withstand something like two people revisiting and exploring it in a podcast
you're putting
like
her
this?
up with Shakespeare, really. Are the sort of people that can be recreated or reinvented through pop culture in different ways and sort of reinterrogated in different ways, or owned by different decades, like we did with Romeo and Juliet that Baz did in the 90s. But she only wrote 6 books. Sanditon's not finished. There's letters and there's things that she did, previously, but 6 novels and she has this much cultural impact is unbelievable, and it's kind of peerless, I think. Prove me wrong.
Prove you wrong.
Podcast me wrong.
Okay. I think that in the canon of what is considered the literary greats, she is probably the most accessible as well.
Yeah.
So I think that, yes, the creations, and so not just the novels themselves, but the worlds are incredibly transferable for different adaptations. But also, if you actually go back and read them yourself, you can. So it doesn't feel as though it's a punchline, but you don't feel as though you're having to tackle War and Peace, but which also has its place in that canon of literary greats. But it feels like something that is completely accessible, that you can read on a beach and still adore. Mm-hmm. So I feel as though it's working on 2 levels. There's definitely the human stories that are timeless, but also the fact that you can enjoy something that is incredibly created. And it's still accessible. Does that make sense?
And
Yeah.
it absolutely makes sense. And the cultural impact, David, that you just referenced, that goes to the heart of Into the Austenverse. It is not only the books, it is the movies, it's all of the different adaptations. Each episode is devoted to a particular piece of work, and then that's the launching pad for all of the conversations. Let me ask you about some of your favourite adaptations and some of the less than fabulous.
So a hidden classic is The Northanger Abbey from 2007.
Really good.
It's really just
Very
skated
hidden
under.
classic.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really,
It's really
good.
good.
Really, really strong. And beautiful cast. Everybody in it is great. It's been created with such care. It's just gorgeous. So that for me would be a real one that's bubbling under. And Northanger Abbey is probably Jane's least known book. So yeah, that would be a real winner for me. And of course, that then is up with the 1995 Pride and Prejudice, which for us is not peerless, but it's our favourite.
Yeah, it's both of our introductions really to the sort of, the televised work of hers. It's my introduction to Jane Austen completely, and I still love it. Even though I have a lot of love for 2005 too. We've both grown to really adore that version.
Was that the one with Keira Knightley?
That's Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden and the hand
Yes,
flex.
yes. I was going to say the guy from Succession.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
can never
Tom.
remember his name. It's Matthew McFadden.
Matthew McFadden,
Yes,
yeah.
sorry, he's amazing.
I also love, if we look at the pop culture side of it, I love the fact you can do Pride and Prejudice and zombies. I love the fact that Clueless can happen, and I actually think Clueless is the best Emma on film, and I know I'm going to get some hate for that, but I just think it is. I think it's the purest reproduction of Jane's work. I think Jane would really like, I think she'd really like Clueless as well.
I can't speak to that, but I'm glad that you enjoy Clueless. No, I do. No, Clueless is awesome. It's really, really great.
I can't speak for Jane. You're right. I'm just assuming.
We're asking Lisa to speak for Jane.
No, we are, 'cause
so
she's
we
got the
can't
accent.
do that, Lisa.
Yeah.
Is that what
You're
we're
from the
saying?
country.
You're not the official spokesperson, because I was going to say the same, because I actually hard agree with David. My sister called Emma, little shout out to my Emma, did her thesis on Jane Austen's Emma into Clueless. And I would personally agree that that is the epitome of Emma on screen. Sorry, not to all gang up on you, but
No.
as the official spokesperson for Jane Austen, or honestly, Lisa, I think we think the closest we can get to it in August in 2025.
At least in this room.
In this room. Between the three of us.
Look, I love Clueless. I really do. I do think that the Anya Taylor-Joy one, the 2020, is really good.
That's really good.
But I think, one thing that I love about the adaptations is looking at them as a snapshot in time. So with the Gwyneth Paltrow Emma, seeing that the colours of the walls, the way it just screams 1995. Or when we were looking at the 2005 Pride and Prejudice, how it's beautifully created, painstakingly designed, but yet when you see Matthew McFadden walking across the fields in the morning, his hair looks just like Jim from The Office, and you're like, oh, this was made in 2005. And so you're like, okay, it's those moments where, oh, you're right, okay, we've got this. The 1940, they've all got hoop skirts because these are cast-offs from the Gone with the Wind. You can see those moments, which I find just as enjoyable as if they are absolutely historically perfect.
Absolutely, because again, that is the beauty of watching a period piece. Even I think if we go outside the Austenverse, even something like Grease, for instance, that's the 50s through a 70s lens.
Yes,
and they're all 30.
That's the fun of it, isn't it? That's right.
That's it.
And
Absolutely.
you're so right. It's watching something through a particular moment in time, but also I can so tell that was made in 2001, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the casting as well.
Can I ask you about Bridget Jones then?
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that as one of the less obvious adaptations? Because a lot of people didn't know, even having watched it.
I'm going to just
repeatedly.
plead complete ignorance. And it wasn't until we started this project I was like, of course, that's why it's Mr. Okay, all right. I didn't understand that at all. So I'm going to hand that completely over to you. And I see now why you didn't want me to include Bridget in with that group, because Renee's great in it.
Yeah, she is. She's perfect.
Great accent too.
Flawless.
Yeah.
Flawless. And Helen Fielding is completely open about the fact that, yes, absolutely, this is Pride and Prejudice.
That's why he's called it, isn't it? They're not hiding it. It's like literally Mr. Darcy.
And look at that casting. What a coup to get Colin. Oh, please.
Yeah.
And so clever, wasn't it? Because, again, embrace the similarities. And yet, DC, you're not alone. I know lots and lots of people that love the Bridget Jones movies and never knew that there was a Pride and Prejudice inspiration. That didn't detract from their enjoyment of it.
No. And that's the power of Jane Austen's storytelling, is that we're actually using those tropes, the sort of the butting of the heads of the two people you think they're going to end up together. They're back to back on the poster. They have to end up together. But the journey keeps going on, either whether it's Nora Ephron with When Harry Met Sally does it too. It's this sort of like clashing of when is this going to happen, and it's about the writing that keeps us going. And I think that set up by Jane it's still echoing today.
It's extraordinary. Bridget Jones is perfection. I love that film so much.
We haven't done it yet. We have to do it. It's on the list.
We're going to do it for Christmas. Remember?
Yes,
It's
I
wearing
know,
a Christmas jumper. There you go.
David, you have been co-hosting the Today Extra for 13 years
I know.
now. Two of your many fabulous co-hosts over the years, Sonia Kruger and Sylvia Jeffries, were both on the Stellar podcast with me this year. So 13 years, you are one of those rare people that isn't sort of in the tabloids. We're not going, oh my gosh, David's, demanding this. David might move there. David's going to jump networks. So look, let's get some drama in our last 10 minutes here. Can we, stir up some controversy? What's happening? What's the future? How much longer do you see yourself staying at Today Extra? What's the dish on your co-hosts? Let's go for it.
And Sylvia? Sylvia is so funny and so great and such an empath. And I feel like we're so in sync on set and off. We talk and text a lot, but we just make each other laugh. But I also feel like we complement each other. She's such an incredible journalist, and I never consider myself a journalist, but she's so remarkable. So she's like, if we have to do rolling coverage on flood, she's like, I've got the mayor of Ipswich number on my phone. I'll just call him and we'll get him on the phone. Whereas I'm like, this just happened in Hollywood. Maybe this is the history of this. And I think that we both complement each other really well on that. So what's going to happen is I hope we just keep going until they say you're getting too old to talk to these people, to K-pop demon hunters, which hopefully doesn't happen. But I enjoy it. Like you, I think I have a real curiosity about supporting Australian talent, supporting, our own stories, but also speaking to whoever comes to town. If I spoke to Vince Gilligan the other day, the creator of Breaking Bad. I've spoken to so many incredible people just in the last 2 or 3 months that I just never get bored of it. And so hopefully that comes across, and hopefully there's no major articles about us because I don't go out. We're too busy driving kids around and doing stuff.
13 years, I remember when you first started on Mornings, it was called then,
Yeah.
and it was a whole sort of career pivot for you.
Absolutely.
Would you, either of you, and Lisa, for you observing, would you have thought that you would still be there 13 years later?
Oh, it was the hope. It's the greatest job you can have. It's a privilege for you to have that job, because also it allows me to work, because that level of you finished your day at midday. It's incredible. Yeah. It means that you get to be there for the kids, and it's not as grueling a shift as Carl has. That's right. It's a perfect job.
And I don't have to, if I was just doing gigs, a lot of people out there who are musicians, I'd have to be out on the road most of the year to sort of pay for a lot of stuff. So the fact that it does give me the sort of the privilege of being at home and watching them grow up it's just been wonderful. I'm so grateful for it. But also we have fun.
You, the two of you and your 3 beautiful children were on the cover of Stella 7 years ago.
Yeah, but they're giants now. They wouldn't fit on that cover anymore.
They would not. No, we would need to take out a billboard for that, wouldn't we? We would need to go out of home, as they say. There were some really beautiful moments in that interview. I was rereading it ahead of talking to the two of you today. One of them that's always stood out was that you both said that you both think that you're the lucky one to have met one another. It was a really beautiful sentiment at the time. That was coming up to about your 10th wedding anniversary. Now coming up to your 20th wedding anniversary almost. Is that a sentiment that still applies, Lisa?
Oh, absolutely. The joy of having done the podcast is the fact that we get to work together again. Because despite me saying how wonderful it is that you've got Today Extra, it's meant that we don't work together half as much as we used to when we were first together.
We had a great time when we were working.
We did. Yeah. But this has had the opportunity for us to be together and to do things and bounce off each other creatively. It's been a real joy. So I feel very grateful for that.
And that's the thing. And we've seen friends of ours who have relationships that don't work out, and that's fine. I think some relationships do have finite endings. And I think we need to rethink about how we deal with that, as opposed to be like, oh, can't believe they're divorced. No, maybe that's just the end of that time.
Everybody grows, and it can be luck if you grow together.
And we just do. And I'm so, I feel so grateful to have Lisa and the kids, and to be, still engaged with each other and still in love and still doing what we have, considering our house is madness and chaos. And then we're like, it's really chaotic. Should we do a podcast? The fact that we still have that and still are excited. I'm still so excited to see her every day. I really am. I just grow because she's a good person, and sometimes I feel like I need to grow to not lose her. But that's my issue. But I grow to be better for her and for our kids. And that's always been my goal since I've met her.
Wow, Lisa, how do you feel hearing something like that from
I did not
DC? Almost 20 years on. Beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I just cried. Are you not going to cry?
Look, no, look, I'm British. I mean, I'm also incredibly humbled, and also I feel a great deal of shame for you. Look at all that public emotion.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologise. I'd like to apologise again on behalf of the family.
Look.
Sorry, it catches.
No, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So I feel very grateful.
Yeah, but if I asked her to then recreate Emma Thompson's sister scene in Emma, she will cry and cue.
Oh, well, that was like the precursor to that moment in Love, actually, the infamous moment with Emma Thompson, don't you think? I mean, that was was the gold standard.
Look, she's going again.
Yeah.
I laid my heart out here on a podcast.
In terms of what you keep private and what you share with the world, I think the two of you have always navigated that in a really interesting way, in that you have shared moments with your followers on social media, and you'll talk about your children, but then also we don't also know an awful lot. You clearly also guard your privacy as a couple and as a family. Really love to just get your thoughts about this moment in time that we're living in. As this interview is coming out, I mean, we're only a month away from the laws coming into effect in Australia that will have, restrict anyone under 16 from accessing a social media account. How do the two of you navigate that as parents, but also for what your children access, but what you allow people to glimpse into your lives as parents?
Probably I certainly was more liberal with the kids in the early innocent days of social media. We're like, here's more photos. And that felt good. But as they got older, they were more vocal about they would say stuff like, don't put that on Instagram. From a very young age, Betty would be very much like, no, that doesn't go to Instagram. Like, I wasn't suggesting it was, but I was just taking a photo. So it was interesting that they had that censorship of themselves and that sort of agency to say that. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
And then they're aware of it.
Yeah. And with our eldest son, he got to a certain age, it was like we would more, especially for my public accounts, was more like, hey, mate, do you mind if I put this up? Or I don't have to. Like, I didn't want him, a teenager. I don't want him to have his life bared out on my social media for everyone to see all the time. That's why when people do see him, they're like, geez, Leo, shut up. Because it's been a while between shots.
Yeah.
But as far as the social media ban goes, it's different.
I would love to be to come back to you and say, this is the thought out plan of how we've approached this, but it hasn't been like that. It's been bumbling along. I mean, in hindsight, I probably would have put less up of them, maybe. I don't know. But I mean, I think it's just been a matter of authenticity. Of course, you want to be authentic and say, this is who we are and this is what our lives are to a certain extent. But equally, I think that our views on all social media have sort of changed, I think, and are ever evolving.
Cool. As far as the band goes as well, I mean, like with our eldest, we tried really hard for him not to have a phone because it didn't feel necessary for his life. They have screens at school, and we felt like that was enough. He had a watch, and that's a lot, And we notice a lot of how technology does take the kids away, and try to get them out in a way is every parent's dilemma. It doesn't matter if you're famous or not. And it was a struggle to sort of get him to navigate, like, well, all my friends have Snapchat and they're talking without me. It's like, oh, well, because I interview these people like you do, it was like, it can be very dangerous out there. But actually then it's all sort of evened out at the same time.
I think
it's not been like, we haven't been too militant about it. It's just sort of regulated itself.
I think that there was also the idea of, if I have a phone, the idea of the thing that I don't have. And when he did have a phone and he did have access to things, he was like, it's not actually that exciting.
Yeah.
I think that just in where he is and with his group of friends, they're not particularly into social media. It may change. I'm sure our younger daughter would be different.
I'm glad
it's going to be a tricky. That will be an interesting thing to have. Leo having, he'll be nearly 16 when that comes up, and the twins being 10.
I think it's so interesting, and it's so many things that you've said will resonate with so many people, myself included. It's like we're in the middle of it. It's like we talk about the generation that have grown up with devices and it's second nature. But for us, we're the generation that it happened to us while we were parents in real time.
I mean, that's the goal. I mean, I don't think anyone's watching Today Extra and learning that much, but we do try and put stuff out there. It's like, we have experts on to talk about, social media and kids and what they should be doing. And should we be tracking them with their phones? We are constantly having those conversations. How do you talk to your kids about what's happening in the Middle East? We're having those conversations all the time. So I try and take some of that away with me too. I'm not just repeating the words. I've always tried to implement it in my life.
You've called Maggie Dent in a panic before.
I've had the blessing of calling Maggie going, Maggie.
It's good. It's good when you've got like a few good people on speed dial like that,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Although she just points me to a book and she's right.
Before I have a couple of pop culture questions to wrap up with and bring us full circle.
Oh, it's a quiz.
Before I do that though, can I just ask about Magda Szubanski, because she's not only a very dear friend of your family, she's your daughter's godmother, and I believe played a pivotal role, if not a critical role, in introducing the two of you back in the day. Is that right? So
Yeah.
I hope someone like Magda knows everyone's there for her, and that sounds glib, but is she aware of that? And for people that are so close to her, feeling the country behind her, what impact has that had for you as well as people that love and support her so closely?
I definitely felt like, for doing that thing that we did at the Logies this year, I was really aware of how, she watched that and she knows that people are like so behind her, and that wonderful thing when she gave a shout out to that kid that dressed up like Sharon
at Book Week.
At Book Week, that was so great. But you actually are in contact with her more than I am, because she's been very getting together and getting healthier again. It's been like she doesn't want everyone calling her. So
she's talked about the fact that having that outpouring of emotion and the support that she's felt has been instrumental in her getting through everything. So, I can't speak for her own personal health, but she's an incredible person, and we are so fortunate to have her in our lives.
Oh God, she's the smartest and funniest person.
Yeah,
she's the best.
Yeah, yes, she's an incredible person.
One of the great things also about that tribute at the Logies earlier this year, it was only a couple of months ago, was also how characteristically, and I don't know Magda personally, but just as a pop culture icon, how she said, let's also just be real, I'm getting this because of who I am, not because of my diagnosis. And I thought, I love that, because so many people would rightfully think that, but very few would say it, and not only take the room with you when you call that out, but take the country with you. And I felt like that was another quintessential Magda moment.
Because she laughs at everything. She laughs at us, she laughs at herself, and she made us laugh at the cancer with her. And, they say laughter is the best medicine. It's kind of true. It does make people feel better. That's why we do send the Starlight Foundation into, kids' cancer wards, to make them feel better and give them a laugh, because you are helping these endorphins and helping the fight and have the willpower to fight these things. And so, she's very clever like that.
Yeah.
All right, so David, my final question for you. As I said, I'm going to put it through a pop culture lens. So it's mid-November. We're going into silly season. You'll be hosting the Carols again this year. What Christmas movie would life in the Campbell household most closely resemble at this time of year, or any time of year?
As we go more and more into the week before Christmas, just before I go to Melbourne, because we're building gingerbread houses and we've already got the tree up and we're doing all that sort of stuff, and it gets a little bit chaotic because people want sleepovers and they want to catch up with their friends before everyone goes away. I'm going to say the first 15 minutes of Home Alone. You know, when it's just like there's
yeah.
just things happening all the time, and the pizza guy's here, and hopefully there's no cop at the door as Joe Pesci, but there's that sort of chaos of like who's where and who's setting alarms. Like, no, we're late. We've got to go. We don't leave a child behind. No child left behind is a policy in our house. But I would say that, not the whole movie, but the first 15.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's very, very good. I thought you were going to say Die Hard.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that might
Would have
be
been a great
yeah,
answer.
Yeah. Have you ever sat in first class and had the 3 kids back in economy? Because that happens about 20 minutes into Home Alone, doesn't it?
Oh, no. No, we haven't done it. On occasion, work, for both of us, our work has flown us somewhere. And
we've all chipped in and gone along?
Yeah. And so we've been in different classes at that point.
And that's always the time when a child vomits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we've never done that yet.
No.
When
I'd rather just not go with them if that's the case.
I
Because
really
they would never forgive us.
No.
Never.
No. Well, I think, as I said, it's easy to look back at different culture moments and look at them through the lens today. I hate Love Actually. I'm sorry.
Christmas.
I
Me
hated
too.
it in real time in the cinema with my friend who liked it, and I hated it. And I know I sound like a Grinch. You don't, Lisa. And so for me, it wasn't even a lens. I'm not looking back at it, 10, 20 years later. I thought it was awful at the time.
No, I am completely with you.
Are you a pro Love Actually person, DC?
There are
Okay,
things I
all
like.
right.
There are things that haven't worked well. I like the Emma Thompson storyline. I like Rowan Atkinson in the shop. There's a few things that still work. I would never show it to our kids. Too much porn.
Yeah.
There is the porn.
And there's that guy who goes to America too.
Chris Marshall.
I love Chris Marshall. He's lovely, but that's a wild storyline too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great
It's
cast.
no Notting Hill.
I just don't.
Just saying. It's no
Notting
Four
Hill.
Weddings.
Notting Hill's not very good either. Four Weddings and Funeral is amazing, and then it just goes. Yeah.
Agreed.
Agree?
Agreed.
the
Like,
hot takes.
seriously, hard agree. Lisa, my question for you, final question, I'm going to bring it back to Jane Austen. As a casting director, can I ask you, who would you cast yourself as if you were casting yourself in an Austen adaptation, and why? And also, who would you cast David as, and again, why?
You better be kind. I cried for you on this podcast.
Okay. I think that I'm gonna give you a Mr. Knightley. I'm going to give you Mr. Knightley because I'm going to just say I'll play Emma and you'll be Mr. Knightley.
It's a great sparring.
It
Great
is.
sparring.
It is because I feel as though they work well in a sparring partnership.
I'm a little bit older.
Considerably older, frighteningly older, unnervingly older. But it's that the beauty of their relationship is the fact that he will be honest. And I think that there's a real honesty about you, which I think plays very well to that. And I think that I can give all of the wonderful aspects that we've been discussing about Emma, the chaos, being a busybody, a well-intentioned busybody, are all aspects that I have. So I'll go with those two. That we can just be a far older Emma and Mr. Knightley.
Well, I won't say badly done. I'll say nicely done.
Oh, thank you.
I want to see this brought into production. If you could make that happen, that would be
A very
fantastic.
Aussie Emma. Coming soon on Stan.
Please, absolutely. David and Lisa Campbell, thank you so much. Into the Austenverse is hosted by the fabulous Lisa and David. New episodes are released every Monday wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks,
Thank
Sarah.
you, Sarah.